Police and photographers duck for cover as bullets fly during a tense standoff. And startling testimony on the shooting of a homeless woman.
The lady wasn't, to me, a threat.
Tonight, an exclusive report on an officer who saw the incident and says it didn't have to turn deadly. Good evening, I'm Christine Devine.
And I'm Al Naipo, sitting in for John Beard.
We begin tonight with major new developments on the controversial police shooting of homeless woman Margaret Mitchell. Aidan Pickering has exclusive new details on a videotape that's raising some questions.
This is our first look at Edward Larrigan on the far right, the LAPD officer who shot and killed Margaret Mitchell May 21st last year. To the left is Officer Kathy Clark, his partner that day. Larrigan and Clark were attending depositions in the lawsuit filed by the homeless woman's son against the city.
I didn't see the reason for the lethal force.
But it is the deposition of this witness, LAPD motorcycle officer John Goines, which is rekindling the controversy over the Mitchell shooting.
It just didn't make sense to me. It was something that I couldn't digest it. I couldn't see the use of the force that was used.
You felt that the force was excessive?
Yes.
In a videotape deposition last week, 13-year veteran officer Goines explains he had just pulled a motorist over to give him a ticket. He crossed the street, he says, and observed Larrigan and Clark's confrontation with Mitchell from a distance of about 50 feet.
I was going to grab her from behind.
Why were you going to grab her and not use your weapon?
It wasn't no threat to me.
Goines says he would have used pepper spray or would have just grabbed the screwdriver from the 5'1", 102-pound mentally ill woman.
I would have either snatched the screwdriver out or grabbed her and held her like this.
But Larrigan shot Mitchell.
Yeah.
At that precise moment, a van blocked Goines' view for a couple of seconds. But Goines says Mitchell was 10 to 15 feet from Larrigan, and he concluded the officer must have fired by accident.
The lady wasn't, to me, a threat at no time.
Goines' testimony under oath contradicts the version of events adopted by the LAPD and Police Commission in several key areas. One, the official report puts the distance between Larrigan and Mitchell at 1 to 6 feet, citing other witnesses and ballistic tests. Goines puts it at 10 to 15 feet. Two, the official version accepts Mitchell was a threat because she was wielding a 12-inch screwdriver. Goines is emphatic that she was never a threat.
The commission...
While a divided police commission last February found the use of force to be out of policy, Chief Bernard Parks concluded the use of force was in policy, although all agreed Larrigan and Clark employed poor tactics. Calls to Larrigan's and Clark's attorneys seeking comment were not returned, but an LAPD spokesman says much of Goines' testimony is opinion, not fact.
Obviously, there were many people there at the scene, and each person has a different opinion. What's important are the facts.
But Goines says he approached his superiors with his concerns, namely
that I didn't understand how this whole thing went down the way it did.
Ultimately, Goines says he was told he might face disciplinary action for not getting the name of the motorist he originally pulled over. The Inspector General of the LAPD, Jeffrey Eglash, tells us the information coming out now from Goines was not known to him or the Police Commission when they were investigating the shooting. The deposition of Larrigan's partner has also begun, Kathy Clark testifying she agrees with the chief that Larrigan's tactics were deficient.
Myself, the opinion is that Officer Larrigan did not gain, I don't want to say control, but he did not take the lead in making contact with her.
Larrigan's deposition is currently on hold. Larrigan, a 6-year veteran of the LAPD, and we've learned an anti-gang officer for Wilshire crash prior to the bicycle detail that brought him into contact with Mitchell. Larrigan and Clark have been criticised by the chief and the commission for not calling for backup, and Goines' deposition brings home one of the bitterest ironies of this case. Had they followed that procedure, Goines was just seconds away. But perhaps the biggest surprise is that all that Goines has to say about this high-profile case is only coming to the public's attention now, unearthed by a civil rights lawsuit 14 months after Margaret Mitchell was killed here at La Brea and 4th. In Los Angeles, Aidan Pickering, Fox 11 News.